Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's author webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Anita, and I'm part of the Learning and Content Management team. Joining me from the Learning and Content Management team are my colleagues Jennifer, and we also have few of our researcher support team supporting us. So Deepak and Sandhya has joined us. So before we begin, a few housekeeping items. Firstly, please take a few moments to complete the poll you will see on your screens now. And if you have a question at any time during the content of the session, please use the Q&A option to send your questions directly to us. And we'll try to answer as many questions as possible today during the session and in the Q&A channel. So please use the Q&A channel to post your questions. And if we cannot answer all your questions today, we'll reply to you directly after the session unless you post the question anonymously. We will also cover some of the top raised questions at the end of the session today. And for the best view, you may wish to drag the central bar on your screen to the right to enlarge the screen that I'm sharing. And you may also wish to enable the live transcripts via the bar on the bottom of your screen. And finally, our session is being recorded today, and you will be sent a link when the recording is ready. So now let's take a look at the agenda for today. So we will start by giving you an overview of the author submission process in Editorial Manager. Please note the steps may vary depending on your journal configuration and the type of article being submitted. And we'll also have a look at how to use the declaration tool when submitting a manuscript. And Elsevier's declaration tool quickly and easily helps authors create a comprehensive statement which incorporates the ICMJE in sense International Committee of Medical Journal Editors Declaration Standards. So this declaration tool will produce a statement in a Word format, and that can be uploaded alongside your manuscript and it will appear in your published article. We'll also provide you a brief explanation of the various editorial statuses your submission may progress through in Editorial Manager. And finally, we'll provide you some information on the co-authorship verification. So now let's get into the Editorial Manager test site and explore the author submission process. Please note that I'm going to be sharing our training site. I'm going to be using our training site for the demonstration purpose with just dummy users and dummy submissions. So the training site is a good replica of the live environment, but it will look slightly different to your own profile. So please don't worry if you don't see things today that you normally see when you log in into your profile. And this may be purely due to the rights and permissions provided for each role, and that may vary from journal to journal. So let's now get into the Editorial Manager test site. And Jenny, I hope the screen is all clear.
Yes, Anita, all good.
Yeah, the font size is fine.
Yeah, looks good now. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, so before we get into the Editorial Manager site, so this is how the main page will look like. And if you're a new user, you can actually register by clicking on this register buttons. And if you're an existing user and if you need your login details, you can always use the send login details button to get your username, and you can go and reset your password. Just going to the main menu now. So now we are in the main menu. Once you're on the main menu, please use the Update My Information tab, which you will see here by clicking on the name on the right side. So use this Update My Information tab to update your profile details. And if there is change in institution, it is not required to create a new Editorial Manager account. Rather, just click on Update My Information tab and update your affiliation details, email ID, etc., which will avoid having duplicate accounts for a single journal. So it's always better to go and update all the updated information about you. So before submitting a manuscript, please always check the journal requirements via the instruction to author link. So when you click on this About button, you will be able to see the journal overview page as well as the instructions to author link. So please always check the journal requirements. And these instructions will contain guidelines on manuscript word count, file requirements, and other important information for your submission. And so it is really important to familiarize yourself with the journal. Now click on Submit New Manuscript once you're ready to submit your manuscript. And you might see this page where you would have already initiated a submission but had not completed the submission. So you can see those submissions here. So if you'd like to continue with an old submission which you already initiated, you can click on select and continue on the right side of the manuscript, which you see we've already initiated. If not, you can always click on no start a new manuscript. Now I'm going to use this submission, test submission, which I've already created for the purpose of this webinar. So select and continue. Okay, so now we are here in the article type page where you can see you will have to choose the article type. So please always choose the relevant article type before you proceed with the submission. So, and you might be asked to link with your ORCID ID. So in case if this is mandatory for your journal, you can always go click to link the ORCID ID. So once you're ready, click on proceed button. Okay, so now we are here in the attach file step. So firstly, upload your primary manuscript file by using this browse button, and mandatory file types are indicated with an asterisk, as you could see. If you select research data, when available, you will be asked to enter the URL where your data is hosted, and also provide some additional information such as repository name and title of the data set. So in future, it will also become possible to upload data directly into Mendeley data. For some journals, the cover letter, as you could see here, it might be mandatory. So a cover letter is a simple, brief business letter designed to introduce your manuscript to a prospective editor. So if the guide for authors does not specify what to include in your cover letter, you may wish to include some of the following items, which I'm going to mention. So specify any special considerations that should be given to the paper, if any, a brief background regarding the research involved or how the data was collected, details of any previous or concurrent submissions. It's also useful to provide the editor-in-chief with any information that will support your submission. For example, original or confirmatory data, relevance, and topicality. So add cover letter as mandatory file type. In case if it's mandatory, you will have to fill in the cover letter also. So please ensure the appropriate file type is selected for individual files from the drop down here. So you have to go and choose the appropriate file type from the drop down. You may edit the description of the item from here, as you could see, but please ensure do not use any personal identifiers. So the system will automatically order your files into the order designated by the journal. For some journals, the declaration of interest, as you could see here, might be a mandatory file type. So we will explain this in more detail in a few minutes, but in either event, such a statement is mandatory from an ethics perspective. So we also have a short video on how to use the declaration tool Editorial Manager. So that's going to be now posted. The YouTube link of the declaration tool and Editorial Manager video is going to be now posted in the chat section for all of you. So please bookmark it and refer to it for any further questions or clarifications. So once all your files are uploaded, you can click on the proceed button. So we also have a author submission process video created particularly for the authors to give information on the submission process. So the YouTube link of which will also be now posted in the chat section with the declaration tool video for you all. So please bookmark it for your reference. So now we are in the general information step. So the general information step will have different requirements depending on your journal. You may be asked to select the region of origin, as you could see from here, section category, and also classifications related to your submission. So you can click on add classifications, add any number of classifications you would like to add it for your manuscript, or the number of classification that is required. So if you could see here, there is an alert which says select 3 or more classifications. So select classifications as appropriate, and you can click on proceed button. But before that, I would just like to give you some information on what are classifications. So classifications are fixed terms created for the journal, and these are different from keywords. So keywords are free text that users can add in the manuscript data step. And yeah, that's the difference, basic difference between the classifications and the keywords. So once you've provided all the required information here in this tab, click on proceed button. And now we are in the review preferences tab. So depending on the journal's requirements, you will see different options on the review preferences tab. You may have the option to choose or request an editor to handle your paper, to suggest potential reviewers. So you can click on add suggested reviewer and add, um, or oppose reviewers who you would prefer not to review for your submission. But please note, these are just preferences. The editor may or may not use your suggestions. So once you've provided all the necessary information in this page, click on proceed button. Now we are in the comments section. So the comment section, I'm sorry, we are in the additional information section. So this additional information step presents you with a questionnaire which the journal uses to collect useful information. So please respond to each of these as appropriate. If you could see, these are mostly some acknowledgements the journal is asking you to provide in. So once you've done with all the information, just fill each of these as appropriate. And when you've answered all questions, click on proceed button. Okay, so now we are here in the comment section, as you could see. So the comment section gives you an opportunity to enter any additional information or comments for the journal office. And these comments will not appear directly in your submission. So once you've provided additional comments for your paper, so please click on proceed button. So now we are here in the manuscript data step. So the system may automatically pull some data from the manuscript attached to the pre-populated fields on this manuscript data step. So required fields are marked with an red asterisk. So you have to check and verify or enter data manually. So please click on this author section. So this is one of the mandatory field. So please enter all the authors of the submission, including their name, correct contact email address, and institution. So I've already added one. I'm just going to click on edit and show you a few details. So if you'd like to edit, you can just click on this pencil button. Okay, I hope you see this small screen now. So here, if you see, it is really essential to choose your institution from the drop down. So in the institution, when you type in the author's institution, please make sure that you choose the institution from the drop down, as you might be eligible for the institutional. And just a second, I'm going to delete it and show you. So just start typing and the system will show you the institutions available. So you can choose from that. So it's really essential to choose from the drop down to avail any society discounts or institutional discounts that can reduce your article publishing charges for gold open access. And co-authors may also receive an email notification from the journal once you add them here. So there is a co-author verification FAQ video that's created, and that is going to be now the YouTube link of which is going to be now posted in the chat section. And you can also go and choose the contributor roles. If you could see here, these are all the mandatory fields. So click here to choose the contributor role of the author and click on save button. So you can add any number of authors here, and you can also drag and drop the authors, reorder the authors to the correct position, however you want it to be. And when all the author details are entered, you can just click on next. And the next is about the funding information, as you could see. So please add the funding information for your research. So if you don't have any funding information available, you can just simply click on funding information is not available. And if you'd like to save and submit later, click on this button so you can just come back and submit the paper later. But if not, and if you'd like to proceed further, click on build PDF for approval. Okay. Okay, there is some information missing. I'm just going to quickly click on the attach file step. Okay, so here you could see that the declaration of interest is also a mandatory file type, and I've just uploaded the manuscript. So I'm just going to quickly browse, add that here, choose the correct item type, and change the description. And now you can click on proceed button. Okay, the system is a little slow. Just bear with me for a second. Okay. Okay, so now we are here in the final page. So as I told you, yeah, if you'd like to proceed further, you can just click on Build PDF for approval. And few journals might ask you to choose the open access publishing options also. In such case, please choose the open access publishing options before you proceed. Uh, Now I'm just going to click on Build PDF for approval. So the PDF of your submission is now being built. So as you could see here, it is still building the PDF. Just hold on for a second. The system will refresh. Okay, so it's now ready. So the PDF of your submission is now built. So click on View Submission to access the PDF. You must view the PDF to confirm that your files are correct. Okay, just a second. The screen is still refreshing. Click on View Submission. So you must view the PDF to confirm that your files and information are right. So it's opened up here. So if changes are required, you can always click on Edit Submission. And then the next thing is like, please ensure you read the ethics in publishing and Elsevier's terms and conditions. So you can click here and read the ethics and conditions. And once you're done, click on I accept button. And once you're done, click on Approve Submission when you're ready to approve your submission. So click here on Approve Submission. So proceed. And are you sure you want to approve the submission? Will be the warning you receive. Click on OK button. And your submission is now being submitted to journal for consideration, and you will receive an email confirmation. Okay, fine. So now let's get back to the main menu. Okay, now, in this part of today's webinar, we are going to now return to the submission process and look at the declaration tool in more detail. So as we mentioned before, for some journals, this is a mandatory file type. So transparent disclosure of potential competing interest is essential to meeting your ethical obligations and nurturing trust in science. So Elsevier now offers a declaration tool in Editorial Manager. That quickly and easily helps authors create a comprehensive statement which incorporates the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors (ICMJE) declaration standards. So this statement can be uploaded as a Word document alongside your manuscript, and it'll appear in your published article. So to go into the declaration tool link, click on Submit a New Manuscript. Just going to open up an existing submission to show you where you can access the declaration tool. So I'm just going to click on Proceed button here and just go into the Attach File step. So you can access the declaration of interest link from this attached file step. As you could see from here, there is a hyperlink which is given. So when you click on this, it is going to take you to this declaration of interest page. So now you will be taken to this home page. Here you can read further information about declaring your interest, and when you're ready, you can actually begin your declaration. So just come down, scroll down. And please know that some journals, I have nothing to declare button may be present and should obviously only be used to directly generate a statement when you're confident you and your co-authors have nothing to declare. For other journals where this button is not available, so you have to just indicate that there is nothing to declare in each page, as you will see now. And when you're ready to begin, click on Start My Declaration. Okay, so we are here in the first page. On the first page, research support for this reported work. You declare any support you or any of your co-authors received from certain types of third parties since the initial conception of this research. So note that you don't need to list any academic institutions or public funding sources from charitable foundations or government agencies here. So you may fill in the details of the support by typing the organization name here, and that will give you a list. And you can choose any relevant financial or non-financial support also, if you could see here. And once you've completed all the necessary information here, and if you'd like to add another funding source, you may do so by clicking on this add another funding source and fill in the details. So you will also need to add who received the support. So you can have to mention that here. And if your research did not receive any additional support that should be declared, then you may go up and use this toggle button off. So once you're done, click on the next other support button. And we are now here in the next page, okay, so here, we are in the relevant support outside this reported work page. So here, you should disclose if you or any of your co-authors have any financial interest or personal relations related to the subject matter. So if you could see here, describe the relationship between the author and organizations. Check all that apply. So you can choose whatever is applicable for you. And the time frame also you will have to provide. So the time frame for other support is within the last 3 years. Again, fill in all the required details which you feel is really appropriate. And if you don't have anything, just click on toggle off button. So click on the intellectual property now, and this is the page where you can provide the patents and intellectual property details. So this page allows you to disclose any relevant patents or copyrights licensed to you or any of your co-authors. So you can fill all the details here, the patent details, license, and all the other details. And you could also click on add another patent and add other details. So once you have done with all the necessary informations or you have pressed the toggle button off, click on next other activities. So other activities is the final page of the declaration tool where you can submit any further information that a reader could perceive to have influenced the work that has not been covered in the previous pages. So you can fill any other information here or press the toggle button off to indicate you have nothing to declare. So if you'd like to save the declaration, come back later, you can use this save declaration for later and come back and declare the declaration later. So you may click review declaration now. So this screen, if you could see, summarizes all the information you have provided. So you may click the back button if there is anything you want to go and edit, or you can just click on submit and download if you're happy with the content. So now, if you will be, you will be offered an option to enter your email address to save your declaration statement. You will receive the same prompt if you wish to save your progress at any time while using the tool. And if you do this, you will be prompted to enter a one-time password, as you could see here, and you can then download your declaration. And you can also go back to this tool and download the declaration again for the next 30 days if you use this option. Alternatively, you can click on no thanks, I want to download a declaration without saving it. Okay, so as you could see, the declaration tool has created a document using all the information you entered, which can now be uploaded to Editorial Manager as a Word document. So now I'm just going to go back to the attach file step. Yes, so here is where you can upload the file which you just downloaded. So choose the declaration of interest option, click on browse, upload the declaration, statement and choose the appropriate item type as declaration of interest. Provide the description here, and then yeah, you are done, and you can proceed to simply submit the declaration tool. Yeah. So that's all about the declaration tool. And in the last part of this today's webinar, we're going to give you a brief explanation of various editorial statuses your submission may progress through the editorial manager. So for that, I'm just going to go back to the presentation now. Okay, I'm sorry, there is some technical issue. I'm not able to share my screen. I've just shared and Jenny, I hope the screen is all clear, Jenny, now.
Yes, Anita.
Okay, thank you very much, Jenny, for confirming. Okay, so an author finishes writing his paper and submits it to the journal. So the system shows the status of the manuscript as manuscript submitted. Based on the workflow of the journal, the editorial office or editor performs a technical check on your manuscript. They will check the manuscript word count, format, and figure quality, etc. The next step is assigning it to either the editor-in-chief or an associate editor for further handling. Journals usually have multiple associate editors who are experts in a particular niche within the broad subject area. So your manuscript will be handled by the editor who has the highest level of understanding and experience with your paper's research topic. So the status will remain with editor until the editor either makes a decision or invites reviewers. So the handling editor now has different action choices. He or she may make a desk rejection, send the paper for revision, or invite reviewers. So the editor conducts an initial screening of your paper and assess it against several criteria such as novelty, priority, and scope. So, and if your paper is a better match for another journal, you may also be offered a manuscript transfer. Also, it's possible that your paper does not meet some of the assessment criteria, and then the editor will reject it before going into peer review. If the editor decides that your paper is a good match for the journal, they will identify 2 or 3 independent reviewers, depending on your journal configuration, and send them an invitation to review your manuscript. When the editor invites reviewers, the status of the manuscript changes to under review. Once the required number of reviews are completed and recommendations were submitted, the status of the manuscript shows as required reviews completed. So the handling editor now carefully studies the review reports. It can happen that the referee reports are conflicting, in which case the editor needs to find some additional reviewers. So when this happens, your submission returns to the under review status. And when the editor has received enough high quality feedback from the reviewers, they will begin the decision making process and move the status to decision in progress. So the decision may need to be confirmed by multiple editors in some journals. So the manuscript then moves to the editor in chief's account. So the editor in chief submits his or her decision. And there are different decision the editor might choose. So the first one, as you could see here, is revise. So the editor is requested that you revise the submission. You will find the details of the changes required and the deadline for your revision in the decision letter. The next one is accept or reject. So the submission process is completed with either an accept or reject decision. In case of an accept decision, the manuscript will begin its production process and you will receive further information. And the next one is transfer pending. So the editor has rejected your paper and suggested to transfer it to another journal. So the editor has recommended the submission be transferred to another journal via our automatic transfer service, and you're offered a transfer. So we will await your response before proceeding any further. And the last one is submission transfer. So you accepted the transfer and the submission is now transferred to another journal. We've also published a video on submission status explainer, which will explain how your submission progresses after submitting the manuscript. And the link of the YouTube link of the video will now be posted in the chat section. So please bookmark it for your reference. So yeah, as we were speaking about the submission tracker, so we have now introduced submission tracker 2 for more than 2000 plus Elsevier journals. Once a journal is using the submission tracker, an email is sent to the corresponding author when the first reviewer is invited. As you can see from the screenshot, the email contains a link to the submission tracker, which you see here, the landing page where the author can view the status of the review process of their submission. Note that the same link will remain active throughout the end-to-end peer review process. And we expect to have the submission tracker tool available for all Elsevier journals in the near future. So yes, I'm sure like the submission tracker YouTube link, video link has already been posted. So please bookmark it for your reference. So the submission tracker landing page for a submission looks as shown here. From here, you can monitor the complete status of your manuscript. So the next thing we would like to highlight is about the how to handle fake acceptance letters. So at Elsevier, we want to help all our authors to stay safe when publishing. So we are aware that there are a number of scams and operations which seek to fraudulently obtain money from authors. Typically, these schemes take the form of emails purporting to be from a journal's editorial office asking the authors to pay a fee. Often, this request is made at the same time as announcing that the paper has been accepted for publication, even though in reality it is still in the editorial review workflow. So, these are some tips on how you can avoid being scammed and stay safe when publishing. I'm just going to leave the screen for a second for you all to just read through it. So, few important things which I would like to highlight here is all legitimate emails from Elsevier requesting payment will only come from at elsevier.com email address. Therefore, please delete anything that claims to come from Elsevier but does not come from such an email address. And especially if you have not chosen to publish in a gold open access journal with regards to payment, you should be wary of any communication requesting that you transfer money to enable publication. And in case of gold open access journals, Elsevier will ask for payment after your paper has been accepted for publication. So please make sure that you actually keep a track of what is it happening, and this is how you can handle the fake acceptance. So the next thing we're going to discuss is about the co-authorship verification. So when submitting, authors are asked to list all the co-authors of the submission. So editorial manager journals request co-authors confirm their co-authorship, as this helps to ensure that the authorship includes all individuals who have made a significant contribution to the conception, design, execution, or interpretation of the manuscript. So how do I verify my contribution as a co-author? So request to verify may be for a new submission or for a revised submission. So the journal will send co-authors an email notification, which includes deep links to verify co-authorship. And some journals will ask that you also register or log in to confirm your co-authorship, which will also allow you to view the status of the submission. Uh, some journals will ask that you also register or log in to confirm your co-authorship, which will also allow you to view the status of the submission on your author main menu from the folder submission being processed, as you could see here on the right side. So depending on the journal configuration, you may also receive up to 2 reminders to verify your co-authorship. We've also created a video on co-authorship verification, so which I already highlighted, and that's hosted into YouTube, and the link of it will now be posted to the chat section. So please bookmark it for your future reference. So the next thing I wanted to highlight is about the author guide to editorial manager. So in this guide, you will find learning pathway that include links to instructional videos and articles. And this cohesive and enlightening learning pathway will guide you through author key tasks such as manuscript submission process, tracking manuscript status, and so on. So just going to go back to the author guide. So I hope the author guide is visible, Jenny.
Yes, Anita.
Okay, great. So as you could all see from here, there are different levels of information that's available from a pre-submission perspective. What are all the required informations for an author? So you can find matching journals, open access options, how to prepare your manuscript. So if you click on this plus button, you might see articles as well as videos related to each of these options which you selected. And then submission related information, videos and articles, and the review decision process. What happens? How do you track the status of your manuscript? And what happens with the decision making process? And then the revision process. You could see like how do you prepare your revised manuscript. You can watch all these details. And also we have some additional resources here which will take you to the webinar series page and the author services page. So from the webinar series page, as you all know, like we've been conducting regular author webinars. So in a month we would have around some 3 or 4 author webinars. So if you'd like to sign up for an author webinar, so you can just click on this webinar series page and sign up for a webinar. And you can also use the author services link, which will give you some information on what are all the author services which Elsevier provides. So yes, so that's all about the author guide. You can also find some related articles below. And for further assistance, yes, you can always get in touch with the researcher support team who work 24 bar 7 a day. You can email them, or you can instantly chat with them, or you can use the callback option or the phone option. And the researcher support team will get in touch with you as soon as possible. So that's all about the author guide to editorial manager. I'm just going to go back to the presentation once again. Jenny, I hope the screen is all clear.
No, Anita, I can see your notes.
Okay, just a second. There is some problem with my screen. So that brings us to the end of our webinar today. So thank you very much for listening. After the session, we'll send you an email that will contain some helpful links to the webinar recording and some short video guides that relate directly to the topic. So please have a look out for that email. Again, a gentle reminder to please take a few moments to complete the short poll that you see on your screen now before you could leave. So your answers will really help us deliver more webinars like this in future. So once again, thank you for joining us and see you next time.